Joining us now to talk about her exciting business and ways that you can help your garden during the springtime is Emily Taucher, the owner of Happy Garden Place. Emily, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
So Emily, could you first start off by giving our viewers an overview on Happy Garden Place and some information on what you guys do there?
Absolutely. So the mission of Happy Garden Place is to help others experience the joy that a garden can bring. There's so many health benefits to gardening. Just being outside. I mean, the list goes on and on. There are actually studies even showing that it helps with depression. So overall, obviously I'm a little bit biased, but I feel like it's something everyone should be doing. So we offer garden coaching, which is aimed more towards beginners or people who just need a little bit of help in a certain area. And that's kind of like having, your own personal garden educator or education that's tailored to your specific garden and your needs. So I'm kind of like a friend who you go to regularly and you're like, hey, I'm having this problem or I want to do this. We also offer garden design. So that involves a property visit, a custom concept drawing, and then we provide an estimate. So folks can go ahead and do it themselves if they want to kind of get their hands dirty, or they can choose to have Happy Garden Place install it. And then lastly, we provide maintenance packages. So, anything from harvesting, vegetables or herbs, if people are growing those, just checking for pests and kind of helping with things like that. So that in a nutshell, that's really, the three core aspects of our business. And the goal is, like I said, just to really help everyone or as many people as we possibly can experience the joys that a garden can bring. And, knowing that time, of course, is, there's not unlimited time for anyone. So some people just, might not have the time, and other people just might not have, the time or the interest, because there is so much information out there. It's like, where do you start? That was one of the challenges that I faced when I was getting started. So we specialize in kitchen gardens. So, vegetables, herbs, pollinator gardens, and cut flower gardens. But we also do, updates on existing garden beds or, add smaller beds here or there. So.
Emily, as we're heading into the springtime in Michigan, it's getting a little bit warmer, a little bit sunnier. Do you have some tips and tricks for beginners that have never ventured into the realm of gardening? If they come to you for garden coaching, what are, one or two tips to get them started with a garden in their house?
Sure. Well, one, I would say just start somewhere and start small. It's easy to want to go huge and do everything at once. And that's great if you have the time or if you have a garden coach. But if you go too big and you don't really have the time, you're more likely to become frustrated because, you put time into something and then maybe it's not growing right, but you don't have the time or whatever, to fix it. It's just, and I think that's what causes some people to get frustrated and give up and say, oh, I have a brown thumb. No, you don't. Everyone has a green thumb. I promise you. I used to think the same thing, and I proved myself wrong. People are like, wow, and I'm like, you don't want to know where I started from. So I would say, just go for it. And mistakes and little things are going to happen. Even the most experienced gardener is going to encounter something that doesn't go right from time to time, because we are, after all, dealing with nature, and that can be unpredictable, as we know here in Michigan, especially. So I would say just get started, and nothing is permanent. So try something out. see if it works. Sometimes something that, maybe shouldn't work in sunlight, or shouldn't work in shade, for some reason does in some gardens. So, a lot of it is trial and error. So don't be afraid to try. The other thing I would say is, find something, maybe you're not really into gardening, but you love making homemade salsa. Okay, start a small salsa garden, throw in some peppers, some cilantro, some parsley, onion, and all of a sudden you saved yourself a trip to the grocery store. You just head out to your patio and, pull the things you need to make a salsa garden. The other thing I would say is, one of the most important things that we always cover is sunlight, water, and soil. So you want to make sure you're getting the proper amount of sunlight each day. You want to make sure your plants are getting enough water, of course. Irrigation systems are surprisingly easy to put in place if you don't want to have to remember to go out and water the garden every day. And then the third thing is soil. Quality soil is key, and it doesn't have to be expensive. There's a great mixture that I use that kind of combines a number of things, and it's much cheaper than, the big bags of quality soil are awesome, don't get me wrong, but there's ways to save money on that. So, and compost is important too. So those are some of the other things, those are some of the key things that I think are easy to, not necessarily the most exciting things to talk about soil, but incredibly important.
Emily, as we wrap up with you today, could you give us some information on how to contact you if someone has questions about garden coaching or that garden design and installation, how they can contact you and visit your website?
Absolutely. My website is www.happygardenplace.com. Email and Facebook, Instagram links are on there, as well as phone number. Also, I can be reached at 248-701-8620, and text or phone calls are fine. I would love to help anyone who is interested explore garden opportunities.
Well, Emily, it was such a pleasure having you on the Splash Live this morning. Thank you so much for talking to us and giving us some background on what you do with the Happy Garden Place.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Maddie.